Da.
Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün Center of English Studies'den Robin ve İpek Hanım'dan Köklü Dil Okulu sesiyle birlikte yurt dışında ekonomik dil eğitimi hakkında bilgileri dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Yes, Robin, the stage is yours now.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Zeynep. So very warm greetings to you all from Canada. Thank you so much for participating in this event today. My name is Robin Adams, and I'm the president of CES North America. We have a wonderful school in Toronto, and it's my pleasure to talk to you today a little bit about the situation currently in Canada, and to give you more information about one of our most popular courses in Canada at the moment. Today is an opportunity for you to also ask questions. It's not just about me speaking. I can see İpek has introduced herself. We're very fortunate to have İpek Kaleli, who is our representative in Turkey. And so she's here to provide language support. If anybody would feel more comfortable asking a question in Turkish, please do so. We want this to be an opportunity for you to get as much information as you can. And it's a great opportunity to ask İpek any questions you might have in Turkish or in English. So I will just start the presentation here. So Center of English Studies. We are a large family of 8 locations. Center of English Studies started in Dublin in 1979. We also have 6 locations in the United Kingdom as well. And Toronto is the first of the CES schools in Canada, but CES Toronto also has a very long tradition and also started in 1979. So our staff are very experienced and have a lot of practice working with students from Turkey and helping them reach their personal, business, and academic goals. Our school has moved to a new location this summer, and we are now right in the heart of the downtown of Toronto. This is truly an amazing location, very, very convenient to all of the shops and this main Dundas Square, which is like Times Square in New York. So it's the main center of the downtown core. We are 150 meters from one of the most popular shopping centers, which is the Eaton Shopping Center in downtown Toronto. We're also right behind the City Hall. So there are many transportation amenities that are within walking distance of our school. And that makes it very convenient for students when they're traveling from either residences. We offer a number of different residential accommodation options for our students, and also, of course, the very popular homestay program, which is an opportunity for students to live with Canadian families. It's a very affordable option that many students from Turkey choose. So before I get into more detail about our programs, I'm going to just talk a little bit about the current situation that is in Canada at the moment. And my slide has stuck here for some reason. So I'm just going to stop sharing. And there we go. İpek, can you still see my screen?
Not now.
Okay. Let me just get that back.
It's loading.
Okay, perfect. So the COVID situation currently in Canada is certainly improving, and we are seeing a slowing down of the number of cases, and the vaccines are being distributed. Of course, everybody would like them to go a little bit faster, but the government is doing a very good job in terms of distributing the vaccines, first of all, to the older people that are the most vulnerable to the disease. And then by the summertime, we should see vaccines distributed to younger people. The goal is to have most people vaccinated by the fall. So they're working very hard to get those vaccines distributed across the country. In Canada, we have a special ruling for international students. So students are allowed to enter Canada at the moment. We have a process where students can apply for a study permit, and that study permit will allow students to enter the country. Now, students can apply to what are called designated learning institutions. So our school has a DLI number. You can see that number at the bottom of the screen here. And with this designated learning institution number, you can apply to the embassy with our letter of acceptance, and the study permits will be issued. That allows students to enter Canada. When they enter Canada, there is a 2-week quarantine that is still in place. Now, we don't know how long that quarantine is going to be in place, but certainly for the next little while. And that quarantine means that we have to arrange a special transportation from the airport to our residence that we use, which is called the Tartu residence. And students will have a private room at the Tartu residence. They'll be there for 16 days, and that gives our students plenty of time to come to settle in Canada, to make sure that their health is stable. We will make sure that students are taken for a COVID test, and the results of that test have to be released before students can start to study physically in the school. But in the meantime, of course, we will make sure that students are very connected to our school, and we will make sure that our students have classes that will run on a virtual platform like this. It'll be the Zoom platform, and then this will allow students to maintain a connection with the school, to meet other students, and to work on their language training, which is obviously the main goal, is to help students to improve their academic English level so that they are able then to continue on to universities. And colleges and universities in Canada are extremely popular. We see many students who are interested in pursuing university and college in Canada. The Canadian government has really increased its efforts in terms of helping and supporting international students. And some people might ask why. Why is the Canadian government working so hard to help and support students? Well, this little demographic picture here on the left will show you some of the reasons. Canada is very different from Turkey. In Turkey, you have a very large young population under 34 years old. As you can see from this chart, in Canada, we have actually more people who are 65 years old and older. So that population is much larger than the young population. And that is why the Canadian government is not only trying to make it easier for students to travel and study in Canada, but it is also making it possible for students to stay in Canada. And Canada is one of the only countries in the world that offers international students an opportunity to stay in the country and work in their field after they have graduated from their programs. And the number of students that are being encouraged to stay is quite large. So the government recently came out with an initiative to welcome about 400,000 people each year over the next 3 years. So there's going to be quite a bit of an opportunity for people that are interested in possibly coming to Canada to start a new opportunity there, to study, and then to stay in the country and work in their special fields. I'm just going to pause there just to see if there are any questions about the current COVID situation in Canada, any immigration questions that we might be able to answer at this stage. Ipek, any questions in the chat?
Yes, there are some questions, but I'm handling them.
Okay.
The main question you can interest is about our pathway and postgraduate programs.
Perfect. Okay, well, we will talk about that right now.
Yeah.
So yes, the pathway is absolutely one of the most popular courses that we offer at Center of English Studies. And when we started this program, we looked at one of the biggest cases in the country in terms of approximately 50% of all internationals fail in their first year of university. So students that apply directly into Canadian colleges and universities are having difficulties. And we made some research into why, what is happening at the universities that is causing international students not to be successful. And we found a number of areas in terms of the social aspect, so students living independently for the first time, the university structures and procedures perhaps being very different from what students are used to, and especially things like the academic integrity. So that covers things like cheating and, copying information from Google, submitting that. Those are things that are absolutely discouraged in Canadian universities, and they actually have software. The professors have software that seeks this out. So, some of the big challenges in terms of international students trying to integrate into Canadian universities, we feel can be mitigated or can be lessened by making sure that students have a very accurate sense of what's going to happen when they arrive at a Canadian institution. So our pathway program is much beyond listening, speaking, reading, and writing. This is a course that is a 12-week program dedicated to making sure that our students don't just get into university, but to graduate. That's the real focus of our pathway program. So we help you understand the academic culture, the expectations that professors will have of international students and all students in Canadian universities. We help students with time management techniques. One of the big surprises for many students when they enter Canadian universities is that the semester is very short. It's only a 12-week semester. And there is a huge amount that is expected in those 12 weeks. So time management is absolutely critical. Many students get into trouble by maybe not focusing on their tasks right at the beginning of the course, and then there are just simply too many demands on their time at the middle or the end of their course. So time management's critical. Academic integrity, as we mentioned, making sure that students understand the proper way of getting information from different secondary resources and to how to presenting that information through proper citation. Working in groups for many students, the group work dynamic that is so popular in Canadian institutions, doesn't matter if you're studying sciences or if you're studying arts. Collaborative learning is very much a part of the Canadian post-secondary experience. So we want to make sure that our students know exactly how to work effectively in small groups and how they can make sure that they're contributing members once they get into the colleges and universities. Here you can see some pictures of our school. So we are very much a boutique environment. So all of our school classrooms are set up to ensure safe social distancing. We have lots of protocols in place to make sure that our students are in a very clean and safe environment. And this pathway program is designed, as I say, to help students well beyond listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So to continue here, just to give you a little bit more detail about the pathway program. Our pathway program is structured so that there is a minimum English language level entry required. So we use the Common European Framework System at all of our schools at Center of English Studies. The CEFR level that we require is the B2 level. So you're looking at an intermediate level in order to get into the university pathway program. We have a level test that students can take to ensure that they are at that level. And don't worry, if students don't have the B2 level in order to get into the pathway course, they can always take our general English course. And then once they've reached that B2 level, then they can enter the university pathway program. The pathway program is designed to take 3 months or 12 weeks, very similar to the Canadian university system. So you can see even how we've structured our program reflects exactly the experience that students will have. It's a 25-hour per week course, so it's very intensive. Classes start in the morning at 9 o'clock. There are 2 different teachers. So one teacher will be teaching students from 9 to 12:35. And then there's a second teacher that picks up the class from 20 minutes after 1 until 3:45. So it is an intensive day. And you can see here a little bit more about what we will be covering in those hours during the week. So we have a real emphasis on how to work independently. And yes, students will be working often in collaborative groups, but at the end of the day, you don't have somebody telling you that, you know, this assignment is due on this day. You have to make sure that you do this homework. It's very different from perhaps a high school or secondary environment where you have somebody constantly reminding you to do things. With the post-secondary experience, independent learning is absolutely a central focus, and we have to make sure that our students are ready for that. And so you will find many, many different tasks that are encouraging and helping our students to become independent learners. We have many seminars and workshops that again reflect exactly the kind of experience that students will experience. We have classes that will help students take better notes, which develop, of course, their listening skills. And writing is a key aspect for students, not just international students, but domestic students as well. Academic writing, academic English is very, very different from just common conversational English. And we want to make sure that our students are ready and will understand the expectations that professors will have once they reach those universities and colleges. So throughout the 12 weeks, we have many different workshops that help our students to have a very comprehensive understanding about working with others on the campus, not just other students, but their professors, how to ask questions, how to advocate for themselves. So if they don't agree with the grade that they've been assigned, are there steps? Is there a way of working with a professor to ensure that students get the marks that they deserve? All of these aspects we call the personal toolkit for success. So that means that we're going to help our students really understand and have a very comprehensive notion of what they're going to experience by the time they reach the university. The biggest problem for many international students is that the Canadian university experience is so different from their previous academic experience, and they haven't been informed enough about what that's going to look like. So for many of them, it's a real shock. And what our pathway program is really dedicated to is making sure that students have this much better understanding about what they're going to see and what they're going to experience. So as I mentioned, academic writing is just a huge component of the university experience. And with our small class of average of 12 students, students will get that personal level of attention. To have an experienced teacher working with our students and helping them make sure that their writing is strong and that it's formatted and presented in the way that the professors are going to expect it. The university professors don't have time to make sure that international students are, completely understanding what their expectations are. So what we want to do in this pathway course is to really give you a very complete understanding about what the experience is going to look like. So often in the morning, there'll be an assignment that is presented. Students will be able to have a discussion about the various assignments. And then in the afternoon, students are developing those assignments and starting to work together and to find out where they can go and get the information that's required for the particular assignment, start to put that information together so that when they go home in the evenings, they're then able to work on the assignment and then come back the next day in order to discuss what they have prepared. A key feature of our pathway course is that every single student will get an individual education plan. And this is something that's very, very important to me because I feel that students, when they get into the university, they're going to be surprised by just how many students there are. In many Canadian universities, first-year universities, it's common, very common, to have 500, 700, even 1,000 students in one class. And you can sometimes get a little lost in that experience. Before you get there, before you are in this large dynamic, we feel it's very important that students have that individual personal attention to make sure that, your particular needs, your particular areas that might need to be improved are in fact recognized and are improved. So our individual education plan is a document that the students and teachers look at every week to see how they're progressing, to find out and identify the areas they need to improve in order to reach the goal, which is to go on to universities and colleges after graduation. We use a variety of different modern materials throughout the course, very similar to the types of materials that you will experience once you get to college and university. Again, we don't want there to be any surprises. We want you to have seen the kind of assignments that are going to be required. assessment is part of all post-secondary university experiences. The way we've structured our course again reflects how many university courses are structured. 70% of your final grade will depend on what is done in the classroom. So we have 12 tests. So every week you're writing an assignment, sorry. We have 12 essays. We have 6 quizzes, 6 presentations. So those 3 areas comprise 70% of the final score. Then there is a final exam, which is worth 30% of the grade. And students need to get a minimum of 80% in order to pass the course. Once you've reached that 80%, we are then able to help you to transition to the college or university that you have identified either before you came to Canada or while you were in the country and had the opportunity to participate in presentations from different colleges and universities and work with our staff, our teachers, our administrators to help you find the right school for you. For those students who don't get that 80%, of course, we are not going to abandon you. We're going to help you to make sure that you get those, get that level, get that 80% through extra classes, through extra support from the teachers. We want all of our students to be successful. And because we're focusing on a small group, it is possible for us to do that.
Robin, so sorry for disturbing, but there is a different question. Köklü asks, what differs us from other language school in Toronto?
No, that's a great question. That's a great question. You know, one of the key areas of difference really is this individual education plan. It's very unusual for a school in Toronto to have an IEP for each individual student. And the reason why that's important is because it allows the individual student to get their strengths and weaknesses identified, and then it allows the teacher to make sure that the students are progressing in the right way and making sure that they will get the special attention that they need. Many of the schools in Toronto are very large, and so it's not possible for the teachers and the administrators to give that kind of personal attention. And certainly that kind of personal attention is uncommon once the students get to the colleges and universities. But again, our pathway program is all about success. Many other language schools are focused on just getting you into university. Our focus is making sure you have the skills and the tools and the confidence, most importantly, the confidence to be able to graduate. A common question that I hear when students are asking about the pathway program is, how long does it take? How long does it take to do the pathway course? Well, the pathway course itself is a set 12-week program. That's set, it's a 12-week course. However, the question where the flexibility appears is, how much time do you need in order to get to that B2 level? So typically, the way our program is structured is that we use the Common European Framework. Most students need approximately 2 months or 8 weeks to move from one level to the next level. So for example, you know, if students are at the B1 level, they might need 24 weeks before they started the pathway course. So what we can do is we have an assessment test. It's a very quick test. Students can write that test, and we can then determine how long to calculate the pathway course to make sure that students, if they need to book general English classes, they book enough general English classes before the pathway program. If they don't need the general English courses, then they can go straight into the pathway course, and we can help the students work through the 12-week or the 12 modules that are part of that program. Students can start on any Monday, and our goal is to get them into university or college as quickly as possible. So the structure is then that if students don't have the B2 level, they would do the general English program first, then they would do the 12 weeks EAP course, and then they would transfer to the college or the pathway course. If they have the intermediate level, the B2 level already, they can go directly into the pathway preparation program, and then we will help students to transfer to colleges and universities. And we work with a large number of colleges and universities across the country, especially in the Toronto and Ontario area, where most of the country's universities and colleges are located. Very important is for students that are thinking about staying in Canada and participating in the postgraduate work program that they need to choose the government colleges and universities. Those are the colleges and universities that can give students access to the postgraduate work program. So again, this is something that we can help you with in terms of identifying what is the right institution for you. We're working with many of these colleges and universities for many, many years. And we have a list that shows us the different types of courses that students can take at each university. And we can give you that guidance and to help you to make the right decision, the right choice for your future. So what's the process? Well, it's quite straightforward, really. We have an application form that we ask students to complete. There is an application fee, not just for CES, but also for the Pathway institution. And then we need transcripts. Now, transcripts are basically a record of your grades from your last institution. So for those of you who are in a high school program, it would be your grades from your high school. All of that has to be translated into English, and we submit that along with your application to the college and university. And they usually take about 3 weeks or so to process the application. And once students have been accepted by the university, they receive what's called a conditional letter of acceptance. And that basically means that the students' math grades, science grades are at the acceptable level for the institution. The only thing that student needs to work on or develop is the English language and the pathway program. So where we are able to provide our students with 2 documents, one conditional letter of acceptance from our partner institutions, and then one full letter of acceptance from Center of English Studies, which has the designated learning institution number, which will allow you to apply for the study permit, which allows you to enter the country. We have a very, very flexible terms and conditions structure. So students just have to pay the deposit. We recognize with visa processing, with flight situation, there are many variables at this current time. And so you just have to pay the deposits, and then the balance of the payment can be made 2 weeks prior to arrival. Some students need to make installments. We can work with our students to make sure that they get a financial structure that works with their budget. And so at this time, everybody has to be flexible, and we do our best to work with you on a very individual, very personal level to make sure that you get the program that fits your budget, that fits your needs, and will help you reach your goals. So the Canadian visa at the moment has been changed. So typically Canadian visas, if you came to Canada for less than 24 weeks, you would come on a visitor visa. That currently does not exist. So currently students can only enter the country if they come in on a study permit. But the government is now giving out study permits for less than 24 weeks. So if you have a high English language level, let's say you're at that B2 level and you only need the 12-week pathway course, you can get the study permit that will allow you to enter the country. That's not a problem. The laws have been changed. As you can see, Center of English Studies Toronto is a designated learning institution. This is our DLI number. You can find us on the government website, which shows that we are an authorized institution with the Ministry of Colleges and Universities, and students are able to get the immigration documents that allow them to travel to Canada. Once you're at the college and university, it is possible for students to work. So the study permit says that you are allowed to work up to 20 hours per week. And this can be very helpful for those students who not only want to get a little bit of experience of what it's like to work in Canadian companies, but also can be very helpful for those students who want to earn a little extra money to reduce their living costs. And so the government has made a policy where once you get to the college or university, you are allowed to work up to 20 hours per week. A great development that has occurred in the past few years is that your visas can also be extended in Canada. So once you've completed your pathway, for example, and you've come in on the study permit, you can extend that study permit in Canada. And we have staff in the school that will help students do that. You don't have to travel back to Turkey after you finish the pathway course before you go to the college. All of the visa documentation can be done in Canada. So it's very, very convenient. Again, just before I finish here and make some time for questions, I want to emphasize that for those students that are thinking about staying in Canada after they finished a college and university program, this is possible in Canada. The government is actively encouraging students to do this, but they must attend public institutions in order to take advantage of the postgraduate work permit structure. So again, if you're not sure which institutions are qualifying for the PGWP program, we are here to help guide you to make sure that you make the right decisions for your future. The worst thing possible would be to choose a school, then be told later that you wouldn't be able to qualify for the PGWP program if that was your intention. So very important. We're here to help, to guide you. I've got some contact details here at toronto@cesschools.com. As you can see by the chat, we have EPEC, who is just a fabulous support for our students in Turkey. She really helps you get all the documentation ready, works with our partners to make sure that our students have a very smooth beginning of their program. And of course, she's always there if you need to chat with her once you're back or once you're in Toronto. EPEC is there ready to help in any way possible. So with that, what I think I'll do is I'll stop sharing. And EPEC, do you want to speak a little bit about the types of services that you provide to students?
Thank you so much, Robin, first of all. And we received so many questions from the question part, but most of them are about our pathway programs and our price lists, actually. And I get in touch with all the students who ask these questions. And I will go back to them with an email so they can see my WhatsApp details, email addresses. And as you said that, I'm very reachable. Everyone can reach me whenever they want. But let me continue a little bit in Turkish, if no problem.
Please, yeah.
Herkese çok teşekkürler. Öncelikle dinlediğiniz için, bize katıldığınız için. Robin'in söylediklerini ben kısaca bir özet geçmek isterim size. Biz oldukça köklü, eski bir dil okuluyuz. Toronto şubemiz bünyemize en son katılan şubemiz ve bizim şu an göz bebeğimiz durumunda. Toronto şubemizi diğer şubelerimizden ayıran, Robin'in de bu sunumda oldukça bahsettiği Pathway programı. Bu Pathway programı öğrencilerin dil eğitimi bizim bünyemizde CES Toronto'da dil eğitimi aldıktan sonra başvuru yaptığı, gitmek istediği üniversite ya da college'lara ekstradan herhangi bir IELTS ya da TOEFL almasına gerek kalmadan geçiş yapabileceği bir programdır. Soru kısmında en çok karşılaştığım buydu. Biz bir üniversite değiliz ancak çalıştığımız partner üniversitelerimizin olduğu bir dil okuluyuz. Bunu açıklığa kavuşturayım. Bizde dil eğitimini aldıktan sonra direkt olarak başvuru yaptığınız üniversite ya da college'a başvuru yaptığınız programa geçiş sağlayabiliyorsunuz. Bununla ilgili herhangi bir sorunuz, öğrenmek istediğiniz bir şey olursa da dediğim gibi ben buradayım. Kendi iletişim bilgilerimi de şimdi chat kısmına yazacağım. Bana da her zaman ulaşabilirsiniz. Thank you, Robin. I'm writing email and my WhatsApp number from the chat part, so the students can reach me whenever they want.
Fabulous. Well, thank you all very much for your attention. We look forward to being able to answer questions that you might have, and we really look forward to being able to help our students reach their goals. You know, you've had to endure such a strange and difficult time, and I can only imagine how frustrating that has been for many of you. But please know that we're here. We're here. We're ready to help you to reach those academic goals. We want to help you pursue your dreams, and we want to make sure that that is done in a very, very safe environment, in a boutique environment where you're going to feel part of our family, and we're going to make sure that you are successful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Robin and İpek Hanım. We believe it was a very informative session for the attendees, and you put a real effort answering all of the questions. Also, I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Center of English Studies ile diğer sorularınız için İpek Hanım'ın paylaşmış olduğu mail adresinden iletişime geçebilirsiniz. Alttaki webinarlarımızda görüşmek üzere. Thank you very much again. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Teşekkürler. Thank you very much for the opportunity. All the best, everybody. Have a good day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.